waiting while we dealt with that. Today, we will be teaching you about the major scale. Does anybody know how a major scale sounds? Have you ever heard it or played it before on the piano? You do? You want to sing it for us? That wasn't right. Exactly. If you're familiar with the sound of music, there's an entire song dedicated to it, and the words you can sing to use it. The whole song about it. So we're going to teach you today how to construct a major scale starting from any notes on a keyboard. So the first thing we have to teach you is the intervals. Now there are 12 intervals in music, and they have all kinds of complicated names and weird enharmonic thingies. Good news is we're going to teach you 2 of them. And they're the 2 smallest, the whole step and the half step. The half step is the smallest interval that we use in this side of the world's music. When you go to these, it gets weird. But the half step would be any 2 adjacent notes on a piano. Now that can be black or white. So these 2 notes, half step. These 2 notes, also a half step. That's because they are the closest you can get on a keyboard. Now if you put 2 half steps together, so you get 1 and then that's your first half step, and then you do another one, you get a whole step because it's 2 halves. Those are the 2 smallest intervals we have. To recognize them by sound, you'll probably know the half step a lot easier. Da-dum, da-dum, dum, 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 dum. That's a half step. Jaws theme. The whole step is not. There's no good example for it, but every song you know has used the whole step in it somewhere. But it sounds like bum bum. It's a little bit farther. Yeah, bum 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 bum. They're pretty close. They're not quite the same. And those are your 2 smallest intervals that you use in music, and they are the only intervals that are used in a major scale.
Alright, now we're going to move to part 2 of our lesson, which is called the formula. So obviously we told you like at the beginning that the point of this lesson was to learn how to build a major scale. Well, this is the formula that you use to build a major scale. So it's really easy. It's just whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So the way that I remember that, the easiest way I think, is that there's 2 wholes, a half, and then 3. So 2, 3. 2 wholes, a half, 3 wholes, and a half. You could come up with some kind of acronym, but I think it's just easier to remember 2, 3. So let's practice building a major scale. Alright, so we're going to start on C.
One thing. I know most of you do not play the keyboard, so I went ahead and labeled every note for you, so don't worry about it. You don't read music or anything like that. But if you could refer to it by the name adjacent to the key, that would make everything a lot easier than saying that white one between the 2 black ones.
Yes, okay, that's good. So we're going to start on C. Alright. We're going to...
Oh. Alright, we're going to use the mouse then.
We might be using the mouse.
We're going to use the mouse.
Alright. So what I usually start with is if I'm, making a major scale, is to start by writing out the formula on the bottom. So could someone tell me the formula that we just went over? Kirsty.
Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half.
Okay. So keep that in mind. It's a lot easier if you can see it right in front of you, because then you can go by letter. You just start on the first minute. So let's go ahead and start. We're going to start on C. So what would a whole step up from C be? Anybody can answer. Just shout it out. You don't have to raise your hand. Just shout it out.
D.
D? All right. That's good. Mark C, mark D. Alrighty. Now, what would the next note be? The next note.
Sharp.
Can say it louder. I can't hear you.
D sharp.
Think again.
E flat.
I believe we need to clarify something.
Yeah.
This first whole step is from your first note. So this should have been marked. The C is your first note. So the first whole step would refer to the step from that. So that would be a whole step and then to D. So that one's correct. And then another whole step to E. Good job. Yes.
So that means that E is the next note. All right, now. From E to the next note is going to be a half step. So what would a half step up from E be? Now can you tell me why it's F? Because
there's no black keys in between those two white keys.
very good. Remember, just to review, a half step would be up to a black key or from a black key to a white key. But because there's no black key in between these, it still counts as a half step, even though it's between two white keys. All right, so next one. What are we on? We're on whole, whole, half. All right, we're back to whole. So from F to what note would be a whole step? G. Very good. And then, can anybody tell me what the next note is?
A.
Yep, A. And this is really hard, but what's the next one? Our next whole step.
B maybe?
Okay. Because then we have another whole step, and then we have one more half step, which is just like from E to F, which is a half step. Well, B to C is the same thing. And look at that, you have a major scale. So you're probably wondering, like, why is this important? Why do I need to be able to make a major scale? Well, when you, like, continue